Welcome back to O'Brien Design. And in this video, this is going to be a continuation of the previous video where we were making a catchy thumbnail for our YouTube video. And I got to thinking, there are some other channels that I like. You don't necessarily have to split the screen the way that we did last time. So let's go ahead and open those up. Last time we split the screen from the left side to the right side, but we could also split the screen from the top to bottom. So we could create something that fills that space down at the bottom and our text could be up here. I've seen thumbnails that do that as well. So I got to thinking about it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me show you an example of what I was talking about. So let's go ahead and take a look at some other thumbnails on some other YouTube channels that I like. So this is a YouTube channel that I frequent. Again, yes, I know it's music, but I do like that the 2-color font for the best free DAWs down here. If you look at the 2-color font, and he's got some musical symbols too, which I don't know if that was needed, but it looks good. Plus up here, here's what I was talking about. If you look at this one, a better way to EQ up here, if you notice, it's split from top to bottom rather than left to right. And that's just a screenshot of an EQ inside of his application. But I kind of want to emulate that idea. So again, like the last video, let's go ahead and take a screenshot. So that's Alt, print screen in Windows. And again, I'm using Affinity Designer, and I will grab new. And it's still set to 1280 by 720. These are YouTube's dimensions. And we will go ahead and paste in that screenshot, and we will get our, I will scroll out by mouse wheel and holding down Control, and I will clip this down to here because I want to grab that better way to EQ. So we're just going to crop this down here. Okay, so that's one, and then I'll do Control V again, and this time I will grab this one here because I like this one as well. I like the use of colors with kind of a dark theme. It's got a nice palette. So these are our two samples. And I will pop that in the corner and I will drag it to the other corner. And notice, I didn't say this in the last one, but notice how it's sizing almost perfectly to the size of our canvas. Stretching it here, stretching it there, stretching it here. And that will help us figure out our font sizes. And then we'll do this one as well. So we'll stretch this. We'll take it up to the corner, stretch it here. Close enough. A little bit more here on the top and we should be good. Let's check the bottom. Okay, that's good. Okay, so that helps us with sizing and how big our cut space should be. So it's almost directly in half. I also kind of like the way the text is staggered into this EQ. So it got me thinking, all right, so what do I want to do for a catchy YouTube video? I don't want to just do colors like we did in the last one. So I head over to one of my other websites that I use frequently. Click on Pexels, and let's just type in YouTube Okay, and it comes up with YouTube banner background. So let's just start with YouTube. See, and I saw this, and this might actually work, so we could maybe download that. Back to where we were, but I really liked this one. So I wanted to download that because I think I could chop that. So we need a background for the other half of this. So we have a lot of water drops on it. So maybe we take a look here and we do water drop. Let's see, water drop background is one of our search terms. So let's do that. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. I'm kind of looking for something that's red, maybe black would be cool to make the background really pop or the text really pop. Something like this, maybe. I'm going to keep looking. This gray is possible, but that red is so bright on the YouTube logo that I think we just need to maybe change the color. I think I'm going to take this gray here and see what happens. Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll minimize that. Okay, here's the YouTube. Okay, but there's that too. Now, I don't know if this is going to translate. Again, I think this is a left and right type of thing. But you know what? We might be able to I might get a twofer out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to drag it into Affinity, and we'll just leave it there. And then we'll drag in our raindrops, and we'll drag in our YouTube. So we have all three of our assets. Okay, ready to go. And here is our final size. And I'm going to keep this for the text. Okay, so let's take this one because I'm interested. I kind of just want to see what happens here. Okay, and we drop that in. We do a paste, and you can see it's huge. You do Control and Affinity and scroll wheel out. And you can see all your edges, so that way you can drag them all in like this. Okay, that's a good place to start. Ctrl to zoom in. Space bar brings up the hand, and I can drag this back to the center. Now I highlight it, and if I hold down Shift and arrow key, it skips 5 spaces at a time. If I take off the Shift, it skips 1 space at a time. So that's how I move quickly. Okay. Right, so I'm going to bring this in because I want to see the top of the phone. Okay, again, I understand it's left and right, but here's the downside. So let me show you a little pro tip here. So if I drag this over where I want to crop it to the left and get the same orientation as we had on the other one, we lose the space here. Okay, now what you can do here is you highlight your layer, you do a Control J, and that duplicates your layer. Okay, then you come up here and you mirror it. Okay, and you have both of them on, and you hold Shift and you move this one all the way to the left, and look what happens. Your seams can butt up here. Okay, and now you've just extended your background. So now you highlight both of those, and now we can crop it wherever we want. See that seam? I'm moving both of them. It gives me this seam right here, and because they butt up perfectly. And we're going to have text here, so it doesn't really matter. So I think you can see that we have, again, a left and right orientation here, and we can grab our how-to, Control C, and we can drop that in there, Control V, and obviously I don't think the white is going to work very well. So what do we do from the last one? We come over here and we grab this gray from our phone because it's a pretty dominant color. Okay. Now we can also go a little bit thinner. Remember how I said in the last one, it didn't look so good when we went thinner with the text. But on this particular one, we might be able to get away with it like that because now it follows the curve of the phone. And then this one, we can scroll up. Okay, let's bring it way up to the top and see if we can't do that. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. But as you can see, our shadow really isn't working for us on this particular one. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get a subhead out of it. But I'm not done here. So let's take the effect off. So let's double click or the single click on the effect and let's turn this off for now. Click close. And there's our text without a shadow. Okay, same size. And again, we can now bring it up because it was the shadow that was causing issues with the overlap. So that's why I said I'm not sure if I'm going to get a secondary subheader. Okay, I could leave it like this and call it good. And you know, that is not awful. That's not awful at all. You could absolutely do something like that and call it a day. And that's great. You could also do what we did last time, and we can go like this, and we can grab the red from the YouTube logo. Okay, and we've got our text highlighted, and we click that. See, and on this particular one, unlike the last video, is I would switch it. I would absolutely make the top part red, and I'd make the bottom part gray. And that's how I would do it, something like that. And maybe I'd get rid of create a catchy, maybe we redo something else instead of doing what we did last time. Create, baby, help me out. Create what? Okay, so I don't know if you heard that. So what my wife said is I could reduce the font size of this down to, let's say, a 96, because that's what it was in the last video that we were doing scalar to. And if you haven't seen that, link in the description, and I urge you to watch it. So we could do that, and then we can bring this up. And right now, these are all tentative sizes. So, and then she said, what did you say? Get clicks or? Okay, so she said how to create a thumbnail like that. And let's just make it all gray for now. How to create a thumbnail. And she was saying, let's highlight. Oh, so we do this. I forgot the that, right? And then she was saying, let's do a Ctrl J, arrow key that down, shift down, so it moves 5 spaces at a time. Do a Ctrl A, that, and then maybe we could even do it in caps, that stands out. And maybe that becomes our red, and that becomes large. So we're still moving it around. And our backgrounds, although they are locked, because we did that little trick with the side merge, we can now move this over to where we want, and we can move it up. We can cut off the phone. And if you're gonna cut off the phone, cut it dramatically. Don't be wimpy about it like that. That's wimpy. If you're gonna cut it, cut it. And you could do a thumbnail like that. Now I would want to see maybe a different shadow on this. So we can now make our text a little bigger, and we can make the stands out a little bigger, and we can flush them left so they line up on the left edge. I'm going to go back to my layers panel, and I'm going to lock these two down again, the background. Those are locked. And we can scroll this up. And what if we were to actually unlock the background, highlight this, and tilted the phone a smidge, change the angle of attack, if you will, and then scroll it over, and then scroll it up. Now see what's happening here? I'm getting white space here, okay? And I'm getting the phone duplicate. This corner is showing up over here. So you have to be careful. you can only go so far with your tricks. Okay. So I think that's about, unless I go larger and I hold down my shift to keep the orientation constant. And then I do something like this. And even that kind of works. And that gives me plenty of space. And that's more my jam. And now I can really make this text. I'm going to hold shift to constrain the stretch, top to bottom, left to right. Okay, I'm going to lock that background again. I keep grabbing it and I think I'm there for a minute. Okay, we can bring in our leading, tighten it up, and this can come up as well. And if we wanted, we could do a Ctrl J, drag this down, and we can add, drop it down to, I don't know, 82. And I think you know where I'm going. With Affinity Designer. Helps if I don't have my cap locks on. With Affinity Designer. Okay. Alrighty. Now I have my subhead. And I think that could even be bigger. And I think this can go up. This can go up. I think this could get a little bigger. Not much though, because we don't want it to take away. So let's go 90. How big is this? I think we can even bring in the tracking. Let's take it to 90. Okay, and let's bring it up as big as we can. That's a little close to the phone. And let's bring in the tracking to 90 on this as well. And let's bring this out as far as we can. Okay. Now, my eyes are telling me I want to unlock these backgrounds again. I know I said they were set, but I'm a designer and they're never set. You're constantly fiddling. So I'm going to move them over as far as I can go. Well, I'm cutting that YouTube logo, so I don't want to do that. All right, so I'm going to quit fiddling here. Maybe I can go up. My issue is this A and this white space here. So I think I'm going to have to take my font down to a 138. And I'm going to take my stands out down to a 172. And I can live with that, I think. Let's lock that. And we'll lock that. Okay. Now, what I was going to say was my eye is telling me that stands out isn't really standing out. The red on this image is not really a strong YouTube red. So what can we do about that? I would like to maybe try my drop shadow again, but this time we do outer shadow. But this time we maybe make it darker, and in the last one I said it was blown out. This time maybe we make it less blown out. So we bring it in tighter. See, I kind of like that. Let's see what this does. I even kind of like that. And let's darken it. I even kind of like that. Okay, let's crank up the intensity here, see what it does. Yeah, I even like the intensity. Okay, I think that it's subtle, but I think it stands out. So I'm going to raise this up a little bit. I'm going to drop my leading. And I'm going to bring both of these up as well. General guideline that I was taught, and the way I was taught, was we live in a gravity world. And so your distance from top to bottom should be less than your distance from your end line to the bottom. This should be weighted because we as humans like things weighted. And if you take a look at designs out there that stand out to you, I think that you will find that they might be weighted as well. Now, I think that's another good thumbnail. So we'll put that in the can. Okay, I hope you learned something. And if you didn't, let me know. Be polite. Leave it in the comments. And we'll go from there. Okay, thanks for stopping by. And you take care.